Well, if it isn't Friday, and if it isn't you watching us, and if it isn't me, David, your co-host, how you guys doing? Welcome back to Sin City Crypto. As I mentioned before, my name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts, and today, like every single day, we're coming at you live from the beautiful, weird weathered city of Las Vegas, Nevada, with our daily live show. We have an exciting show today. Our topic of conversation, and we're going to talk a lot about our favorite senator, Miss Elizabeth Warren. Figured out her middle name is Ann. So Elizabeth Ann Warren. We're also going to talk about Gary. We're going to talk about Joe. We're going to talk about, what else are we talking about? We got PCE numbers coming out. We have Fed Now video. We have Cardano. You can access Ethereum dApps directly from your Cardano wallet. What's that going to look like? Some exciting news there. We also have our main man Forrest joining us in about 10 minutes to go over some charts. But first, here's your other co-host, Robin.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take old, boring, and stale information and repackage it up in a refurbished Amazon replenished item kind of way. What's up, David?
Anyways.
Hey.
You know, I wanna start the show with, you know, we rarely agree on food, right?
Okay.
Rarely ever. You think something's good, I think it's disgusting. I think something good, you think it's good. But I have found something that we both don't like.
Oh,
this is disgusting.
Dude, it was so bad.
Miso creme brulee. And I love creme brulee. And this has got to be the worst iterations of a creme brulee ever. It's disgusting.
David, you can attest to this. Now, here's the thing. I critique a lot of things, right? But I enjoy pretty much anything. Like, even though I think barbecue chicken pizza is wrong,
you still eat it.
I will still eat it. Hey, I have no problem. This I could not get through, bro.
It's disgusting.
I was 2 spoons. If I tried it the second time.
2 spoons, 1 bite, or what?
No, I did 1 spoon. I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. And I tried again.
It's my fault, guys. It's my fault because I bring all this pastry to you, and now your palate is more refined.
Whoa,
and
man, yeah, that was
All rock was fun.
that was the so that was you ever been to the sushi, the revolving sushi where they had like the conveyor belt?
Sapporo?
Yeah.
I was there with my brother last week.
Oh yeah.
I ordered the same thing. It was disgusting.
Oh, you got the same thing?
Yes. I'm telling you, bro, it's disgusting.
I thought you were just thinking about the ingredients.
No, you know what was good though? They had a pineapple sorbet there. That was bomb.
No. He ordered it, and then this was me. I went there last night,
Robin.
Rocco.
That's what I'm saying. We agree on something food related.
Oh.
What have you guys ever tried miso creme brulee?
It was so bad.
It's terrible.
It sounded kind of interesting. It sounded like it was going to be a good idea, and then it tasted exactly like I expected it to, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if I was to say, what could go wrong with miso creme brulee, I could have been like, hey, I know exactly what it is. This.
You know, Robin, I don't even know how to set this next one up. It's kind of funny, though. So, an asteroid the size of 18 platypuses, or platypi, is set to pass much closer to the Earth. The point here is not the asteroid. The point here, what the hell, who uses to compare the size of an asteroid to a platypus?
Like, are we measuring in animals now? Is that the thing? Like, this one is the size of 15 sheep. Like,
can be Sardinian sheep.
Like, don't worry, guys. It's only 27 hamsters on this one. So. It'll burn up in the atmosphere. Trust me. Like, what happens when we get like, a 10 beluga whales? That one kind of worries me.
Bad, yeah.
That might blow up over.
What is the biggest mammal? It's a blue whale, right?
Yeah, the blue whale. Yeah.
And an asteroid the size of 15 blue whales coming our way. It's like you're trying to do the math and you have that movie. So yeah, that was kind of funny. You know what else is kind of funny? So we talked about this yesterday. The U.S. government was the largest holder of Bitcoin. Well, not no more. They sold 9,800 Bitcoin on March 14th and intend to sell another 41,500 Bitcoin that's connected to the Silk Road Bitcoin that they took and they kept for Silk Road was a long time ago. And so they plan on selling the rest of the almost 42,000 Bitcoin in 4 batches over the course of this year. Is this a massive mistake? You got, like, you literally seized 60,000 Bitcoin, right? And you're selling it off for what?
Here's the thing, like,
you think they're
if they it's just common protocol, right? If they seize a bunch of Lamborghinis, they're gonna auction those off.
But this is Bitcoin, man.
No, I get it, but you know, I understand your premise. I'm just saying from a seizure and a seizure kind of way, standard procedures that you take assets and you sell them. Whether it's a mansion, a Ferrari, Swiss bank account, or Bitcoin, you take your profits, you know? So, I don't know. It's kind of, but here's the thing. Like, that's a lot of Bitcoin getting dumped, man. And, you know, if we look at the chart for that day, it's like
March 14th.
You know, was there a dump on that day?
I don't know. Look at the chart.
I'll take a look. But hold on, before we take a look at the chart, before we move on into real substance, I want to say, Rocco, when you think of Venice, what comes to your mind?
Pizza.
And like, what about what is the cuisine? What's your what kind of food would you typically expect when you go to Venice, Rocco? What is this? Oh, bacalhau. Yeah, that's a Portuguese dish there. Okay. Oh. Hey. You know, what's really, you know, they in Portugal they have a bacalhau dish, and we do like a cream dish and with like potatoes, really good. But anyways, some hot sauce is actually good there. So we have a Portuguese hot sauce called piri piri. Anyways,
what?
I will say that when I think of Venice, so when I was at the gas station this morning, yeah, so I was at the gas station this morning, and then this is what popped up. Look at this. Crave Venice means saying no to boring and finding your true gourmet match. So I guess, you know, when you think of Venice, you know, obviously you're supposed to think Tapatio and hot dogs.
Robin, I am going to burst your bubble right now, my friend. I think it's a play on convenience, but it's cravenience.
Oh, I was thinking Venice, bro. No, huh?
Yeah.
That one's way over my head. Cravenience. Okay, I was thinking Venice.
So what happens when you try to make fun of the Don? And it's
yeah, no. Well, anyways, what do you think about a Tapatio hot dog?
That sounds disgusting. What do they soak it in Tapatio and what? Rocco, false alarm. It's not Venice. It's convenience.
It's a good thing it wasn't Venice.
You know, it would be nice if I can get a womp womp womp, but I never get one because you and Rocco are like in cahoots with each other. That would have been perfect, Rocco. Womp womp womp. But
yeah, dropped the ball on that one.
It's okay.
Anyways,
too late.
Yeah, I was filling up the gas tank and had nothing to do besides take photos of advertisements. I was trying to figure out, like, what does this got to do with Venice? And I'm like, I have no idea.
You think they take like a turkey baster and put it in the hot dog and put the Tapatio in there, or what?
I don't know, man. I'm just
that doesn't sound very good.
Do you ever eat gas station dinner?
Dinner, no. I used to. So when I was living with my with roommates when I was 21, we used to smoke marijuana, and we used to walk down to 7-Eleven, which is down the street. And every night I would get a triple decker sandwich, a pint of Ben and Jerry's, a king size Carmelo. I'd get a bag of Tapatio chips, and I would get a Gatorade.
We can see the result now.
Yes.
The chicken pizza.
See this, Rocco? You see this? Yeah, it's for you.
It's out of camera. I can see it.
Yeah, I know. You can see it. The stream cannot see it.
And then he goes out to a nice restaurant and what's served with the filet mignon? Side of steamed asparagus. No. I
want that Venetian asparagus. You know, you mentioned March 14th, and here's what happened on March 14th. We saw so this was this candle here I got circled here. This was on March 14th. We saw this thing wick all the way up to 26.6 and then closed at 24.7. So this is when we saw that massive wick and big wick down, and then after that we saw what happened. We rallied from, let's call the bottom here. We rallied from 24.3 all the way up to 28.3. So we rallied $4,000 after the U.S. dumped their Bitcoin, and so interesting, very interesting. You know what else is interesting? Is this was interesting. So. Okay, so Nicole Maliotakis, she's a New York politician. She bought New York Community Bank Corp on March 17th. And then 24 hours later, they announced that they were buying Signature. You guys remember that acquisition did not include any crypto assets. My very first question was, how is a person serving in the House of Representatives allowed to buy a bank, right?
Yeah, seems interesting.
And you know, call me a conspiracy theorist, but what? So you had a current sitting representative in the House of Representatives purchases a New York bank, the state which she represents. One day later, the FDIC sells Signature Bank's assets, minus the digital asset side, to this lady and her new bank. And then, of course, the stock rallied 40%.
So, yeah, man, that's
sus, right? It's sketchy, bro. At the least.
So, you know, the funny thing is, Signature Bank was closed against their will by federal agency.
They were seized.
Yeah. They were seized by a federal agency, taken over against their own will, you know. And then bought out, then sold to a regulator in the same
state,
government and state.
Very interesting. I want to get.
That seems that is not a any way, shape, or form a coincidence. Like,
no,
you can't. Okay, so imagine if a cop comes over and he shuts down your business, or say the health department comes in and shuts down your restaurant, and then a week later, the same health department guy opens up your restaurant. Like, we're good. We passed health inspection now under new leadership that also happens to be the same guy that shut you down.
And Miguel Costa hit the nail on the head. Elizabeth Warren has not said a peep. A peep.
I messaged her. Did you see that?
I did. Yeah. See what happens.
I messaged her and somebody else. No, I messaged her.
I doubt she looks at her Twitter DMs. I could be wrong though.
No. This one was not a DM. This one was directly to her. So let me see.
Well, via email?
No. Let me see here. What did I?
Yeah, while you're looking at that, okay. I wanna bring in our guest, Forrest Rocco. Forrest, what's going on, man? Where's the hat, bro?
What's up? Hey, where's my hat?
Yeah, no, you're not showing off the hair today? I like it.
Yeah, got a haircut, so you know.
Looking good, bro. Looking good.
Usually
welcome,
more
man.
signal.
We missed you. How you doing?
Doing well. Can't complain. Allergies are horrible today, so if I like sneeze or wipe snot off my nose in the middle of the stream, apologies.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
It's brutal out here.
It's just allergies. It's not anything else. Okay, guys. Don't draw to conclusions.
Yeah, exactly.
Forrest, when I say Elizabeth Warren, what's the first word that comes to your mind?
Loser. No. Anti-crypto. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
that was me, and I shouldn't call somebody a loser.
No, you should. Some people deserve it. She definitely deserves it. Yeah, because she will lose. She will lose. So she's won the Massachusetts senator race for God knows how long. She's been in office a long time. I think this is going to bring her whole campaign down. This anti-crypto thing. You stir the hornet's nest, you kick the hornet's nest, a bunch of hornets gonna get pissed off and they're gonna come after you and they're gonna bite you. And so I think that's what's gonna happen.
It's just such a weird stance. Like, why do you want to be anti-crypto? Like, why do you think that the people want to support somebody who is anti-crypto? It's just so bizarre. It's just weird.
Yeah, here's a case you missed the internet yesterday. And then this is what I said here. I was like, we'll see you November 5th, which is election day 2024, and we'll be ready.
Are we going to Massachusetts?
And this is, and I said this will be the last politician to be vocal about shuttering crypto. And I was like, you want to win an election? You're gonna have to be open-minded. Like because this is a bipartisan issue. You're gonna have people. You're gonna have Democrats that are gonna be pissed off and they're not gonna vote for you. Oh, elections are won by thousands of votes now, especially in some of these swing states. We're seeing elections won by 1,000, 2,000, sometimes hundreds of votes in some counties. So, you piss off enough crypto people. I know crypto adoption ain't as mainstream as some other issues. I understand that, but I'm sure you can get 10 or 20,000 people in your jurisdiction voting across party lines because they have a crypto portfolio.
I agree. So. Boris, I want your take on. Did you see the part where I showed that House of Representatives representative from New York bought Bancorp and then a day later was sold Signature?
Yeah, I saw. I hadn't seen that before you mentioned it on the show as I was coming on. It's just the corruption runs so deep. Have you guys seen the show Billions? No. It's literally like the plot of Billions, where there's just constant corruption, constant undermining, a constant war between ultra wealthy people. It's just it's sad. I don't know what the individual person like you or I can do about it, aside from supporting crypto and supporting decentralized technologies. But even then, I don't necessarily think that cryptocurrencies are completely immune to having corrupt stuff being used for corrupt things, or having corrupt things built on top of it. So it's just gross. It reminds me of the $500,000. I know this is like not tangential, but the first thing that came to mind was the corruption going on with Hunter Biden selling his artwork for $500,000. It's just like such
hold on, what?
It's just like,
did you say Hunter Biden sold artwork for $500,000?
Yeah, so he sold a painting. It's an original Hunter Biden painting. Sold it for $500,000, which is valued right next to some of the greatest art of all time, Claude Monet, and some of the greatest artists of all time that started the entire entire movements. Like, I think Monet started the Impressionist movement. It had a painting that sold for $500,000. Right up in that price point, that upper echelon, you got the Hunter Biden original art there, and it's just blatantly laundering money, or blatantly taking a payout for other services rendered, and just it's stupidly corrupt. And that's what's going on with it's just
that's
it's absurd
interesting
and sad.
They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and that's the whole thing with NFTs is people are saying they're used for anti-money laundering because I can create an NFT and sell it to Forrest for $1 million, even though the NFT is worth nothing, and write it off as whatever you want to write it off as, and then you can take that NFT and donate it to charity, and now that's a tax write-off. And we're over here getting shouted on by politicians that, anti-money laundering, crypto's bad. And then you got the son of the freaking president doing the same exact thing. Very interesting. There's a lot of talk about Trump NFTs, and there's a few people in the chat talked about this, and I know you minted a lot of them, and those things just absolutely pumped. They're at half an ETH right now, 0.55 ETH. Boris, are you still holding on to any, or did you sell all of them?
No, I actually closed down the rest of my Trump NFT position. So I ended up minting a total of 70 of them. I didn't sell them all at the top. I sold most of them for a 3 to 4x, which is great. They were only like $100 to mint. I do think that with the indictment, they'll probably perform pretty well. I think they're actually, a decent little play here if you kind of have a decent risk tolerance. But I moved all of that capital into the DGods and Utes ecosystem, which has just been through the roof recently, pumping really, really hard. So I can't complain too much there.
Forrest, 70 of them's a lot, and I want to let you know my birthday's coming up in about 6 months. And so there are a few Santa Claus list things I put together, so I'll send you my address. All jokes aside,
you know what? Donald Trump has there's one with the Santa Claus hat. I think that's a pretty rare trait. So you might be able to scoop that for under an ETH for Christmas.
I think that ship has sailed. I don't know. I feel like I'd be FOMOing in, and but anyways, let's talk about Elizabeth Warren, okay? Because that's part of the theme of our show, and then we're gonna get into some charts here. So Rob tweeted this yesterday, right? Sits on the Committee on Banking and also Committee on Finance, and her net worth is $67 million, although her salary is only $285,000. And to which BitBoy tweeted, these are her contributors. And look at what they contributed.
That's so crazy. I was looking at this yesterday.
Alphabet Inc., aka Google, 680,000. Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, the city of New York, state of California, University of Washington, all states that she does not represent. Kaiser Permanente, Walt Disney, AT&T, and of course Stanford University.
These are contributions to her campaign?
Contributions, I would assume, to her campaign or to her pockets. One or the other.
That's kind of I did not know this, that the fact that a university can, I guess if it's a private university, right, and not a state university, but that's like the state of California on there is pretty gross, to have your tax money
U.S. government
go towards
that has to be her paycheck, right? That has to be her paycheck, right?
Yeah, that's got to be her paycheck. I would assume $215,000.
City of New York,
but that's bizarre. Is that another paycheck for $204,000? So is her salary $200,000, or is it?
Maybe it was a speaking fee.
I don't know. These are contributions, so I don't think they are paychecks. Honestly,
some of them have to be speaking fees, right? She probably charges to speak at these universities, and right?
Yeah. I suppose so, but geez, $180,000. State of California. That's just bizarre to me. Is why are Californians' taxpayer money going to Elizabeth Warren?
What I want to know is,
great question for us.
I thought universities were supposed to accept donations, not donate them. I'm not even being funny. I'm like, serious. I didn't even know that entire universities donate out. Like, you could have bought more teachers, could have upgraded some faculty areas, but
we don't talk about those things here, Robin. Okay? Life's about balance. We take some, we give some. All right?
I might need to get into the speaking gig at colleges game if they're paying this much.
Hell yeah, brother. I'm right there with you, man. We'll do a little tour de speaking at now, I do want to talk about one thing before we go back to Elizabeth Warren. So we talked about this on Monday. So the PCE numbers came out, and it's actually down year over year. So we came in at 5.3% January, and then February just came in at 5%. And so we're on the way down, and a lot of people did mention that this now means essentially our current interest rates are at or above what the inflation rate for the PCE is, which a lot of people say that is what needs to happen for you to actually bring inflation down via hiking interest rates. So that is why when interest rates were at 8-9%, people were like, there's no way. Well, now if we see the CPI drop to 5% or under, and they hold the terminal federal funds rate at 5% or higher, we could see that play a role on inflation. We are seeing the M2 money supply start to come down. But on the back end, we're seeing a lot of kind of worrisome news about nations ditching the dollar in trade with other countries. We saw Brazil, we saw UAE, we saw France just buy, I don't know how many millions or billions of dollars of liquefied natural gas via Chinese yuan instead of the US dollar. And so, you know, kind of concerning. Forrest, we've kind of talked about this US dollar thing all week. What are your thoughts? Are you as concerned as I am that we're starting to see, and we might not feel it yet, but we're starting to see countries be open to and actually execute trades not using the US dollar, which 6 months ago I would call you crazy.
Here, well, real quick, I've said it a few times this week. I feel like we're in an age that we don't have to keep, because of technology, one currency to facilitate business. I think that financial platforms, interfaces, the way money moves, feel like you can buy and sell stuff in foreign currencies. I know it was difficult back in the day because, if you're selling oil, you don't want to accept 18 different currencies and you got to price it all and figure out but now you got computers that do all this, right?
What are your thoughts, Forrest?
So kind of a lot to unpack there as far as like the PCE numbers go coming down. One dashboard that I found recently quite useful is Trueflation. It's more of a real. So you have the CPI and PCE numbers. They come in, they're kind of lagged, probably at least a month, but maybe even more than that. Trueflation has been really nice. I haven't actually seen any big critiques. I guess, I could probably share my screen here just to show you guys Trueflation. So these guys actually got a grant from, I believe, Chainlink to provide true inflation data to the blockchain. I don't think they have a token yet. I think they're going to have a token. I have no affiliation with them. I know it sounds like I'm shilling Trueflation as like a project. It's just a more real-time inflation dashboard. So you can see we're trending the right direction, and the way that their methodologies, I haven't seen any big criticisms of their methodologies, but they're actually pulling the real time data from people that have the data. So housing data from Zillow, rental data from Zillow, car gurus for car price information, and so on and so forth. And you can see we're actually bouncing kind of hard here. From we tipped below 4%. Now we're bouncing back up above 4.11%. So you can see we're moving directionally, and this is kind of where you'd expect this is where those PCE numbers came in around 5% or so, and that's kind of in line. So so far so good. I'll just kind of share. I don't know why I just kind of wanted to share that because you were going over the PCE numbers, but as far as concern about people switching off the dollar, I mean, it's not good for the dollar, but I've not been somebody who's extraordinarily invested in the dollar for quite some time here. I'm more invested in crypto, been hedged in some commodities like oil and precious metals for this exact reason. We've talked about, it feels like months ago now, where I believe it was Russia and Iran discussing the potential for a gold-backed stablecoin. There's this de-dollarization narrative is starting to kick into full force, and it's not going to be good for the dollar. You're not necessarily going to want to have 100% of your wealth stored in the US dollar, an inflationary currency that is getting weaker and weaker, and potentially going to have lower purchasing power in the next coming years because countries are moving off of the dollar as the world reserve currency. So I mean, look, if you want to get biblical with it too, I mean, and it's pretty obvious that this is the direction that we're moving in, is like a one world government and a one world currency. I don't know how far that is, but again, I mean, it's it's biblical prophecy that seems pretty likely, right? So I think we'll eventually move to some sort of global CBDC, unfortunately, but we'll see. We'll see. Certainly, the dollar to be on the way out.
I agree, and can't tell you. Robin said this yesterday or a couple days ago. You got people coming up to us now and, hey man, what's going on with this dollar thing? We're like, we try to tell you. Y'all called us. You looked at us like we're crazy. We said Bitcoin, and
here's the thing: if you think inflation was bad now, we've been at 6%. We've been over 6% since June of last year, or even before that. It was few months before June,
but over a year.
Yeah, so we've been well over 6%, and that's what the government's telling us. It's realistically higher than that. We know that the middle class workers, people that are actually out here feeling inflation, their biggest expenditures is houses and cars and gas to get to and from work. Those three combined, oh well, they're all up over 6%. That's for sure, 100%, right? Not 100%, but they're up for sure. And so there's that, and it's gonna get worse, man. This is gonna get worse. We just printed. I don't know I don't have the exact numbers, but we printed. It was like $400 billion in a weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if we crossed the $1 trillion mark with this whole banking bailout. I've heard rumors of that. I don't know exactly how much, but
to be fair, the Fed's balance sheet they shrunk. They were net negative. They were net negative this week.
Yeah, so
more came off than they put on. But this is just the beginning. You got to remember they opened up those liquidity swap lines for foreign banks and governments just last week. So we don't know, those monies are coming in. We don't know how much that's going to be.
And I think that other nation states are just waking up to the realization that, like, hey, here's the thing. If you came off of the dollar in the past, like, let's just say this environment, we weren't in the current environment that we're at with this whole banking and inflation. If a nation were to say, hey, we're going to trade in a different currency, we know what would have happened, right? The president would have been like, hey, they would have been like, this is unacceptable. We're going to, put tariffs on your goods.
Why hasn't Joe Biden done that? You think he's
well, that's the thing. All the nations, there's a handful. You can't go and sanction all the nations, and then you're going to just expedite the whole process. Well, we saw what happened with Trump when they got into their little trade war and with China. And what I'm saying now is that other countries aren't fearing the consequences of coming off the dollar. If anything, they're starting to see the benefits, and they're looking at other nations. They're like, oh, you're getting off of this and there's no repercussion? Because I'm telling you, in 2019, if you would have tried to trade oil in a different currency, what do you think the U.S. would have done? Like, think about it. And so now, because we've weaponized the dollar, because we're out here threatening people, I think about it. If you're a nation state, and you are extremely reliant on the dollar, which most nations are, honestly. Think about it. If you piss off the US, they can sanction you. So at any point in time, if you align, you think that, hey, maybe we should, buy commodities from China or whatever it is, open up some kind of transportation. Maybe there's a lot of tourism from China, and all of a sudden you done pissed off the U.S. and they're going to drop sanctions on you because you don't line up exactly with the U.S. thoughts and policies, then that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so why take on that risk if you get a chance to exit the system without any repercussions? Because before there was threats. And you get off the U.S. dollar, we're gonna make life hard for you, both in trading and.
Well, now the foreign countries know that all they got to do if they don't want to piss off Joe Biden. Hey, we're getting off the dollar, but here, Joe, here's some chocolate chip ice cream. I want to give a shout out to Hendy. He's been a hodler member for 10 months. He was I think he was the first one that signed up for our level 2 membership for our channel when we first brought it out. So Hendy, to you, my friend, thank you very much for your continued support of this channel. You've been with us for a very, very long time.
He was watching us when we had like less than 500 subscribers.
So all the OGs and all the new people, we love you guys. Thank you for the continued support.
If you're new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. I don't see too many new people. I do see Round Earth in here though. So to you, hola, welcome, Sin City Crypto.
Forrest, you mentioned a gold-backed stablecoin. You also mentioned inflation, and you also mentioned Chainlink using Trueflation to bring. Well, look what Coinbase is doing. They want developers to build inflation-pegged flat coins on the new Base network. Coinbase sees inflation-pegged flat coins as one of 4 critical innovations that should be built on its recently launched Layer 2 network Base. The 3 others include an on-chain reputation system, an on-chain limit order book, exchange, and tools that make the DeFi ecosystem safer. This is kind of intriguing to me. Coinbase said it's now more important than ever to build an inflation tracking stablecoin that negates poor monetary policy decisions of central banks. And they said, quote, We are particularly interested in flat coins, which are stable coins that track the rate of inflation, enabling users to have stability in purchasing power while also having resiliency from the economic uncertainty caused by the legacy financial system. Flat coins aim to be pegged to the price of living by tracking consumer price index, aka CPI, and inflation data. Robin, what are your thoughts on this?
Bro, that is the biggest troll in the crypto space, period, right? You're like, hey, we're Coinbase, we're gonna sue you. Here's a Wells notice. Like, you know what? We're gonna create an inflation coin. Like, there you go, right?
That negates poor monetary policy decisions of central banks.
They're like, you know what? We're gonna just track this in a fun coin that people are gonna trade and speculate on. And now we can speculate. You can long and short this thing. We're like, hey man, inflation's about it. Like, you guys just printed $1 trillion, man. This inflation coin about the moon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, this is one of the greatest trolls, greatest troll ever. Oh, 100%. I mean, look at this. It says, look at the quote. It said, where was it earlier?
Right,
not that exact.
Yellow.
Is it the yellow?
Negates poor monetary.
Yeah, negates poor monetary policy decisions from central banks. I mean, if that's not a troll, I don't know what is. Right? They didn't pitch it as anything like progressive that every investor needs in their portfolio, or whatever. They're like, hey man, you know what?
Is it going to be backed by Bitcoin? That's what I want to know. Well, what's your thoughts for us? I'm not sure if you saw this earlier. This was kind of earlier in the week that I haven't gotten a chance to get to, but since we were talking about inflation and stuff, I figured it'd be a good time to plug this in. What are your thoughts on this? And have you heard anything about this prior to me showing this?
Yeah, I feel like I saw the headline a little bit ago, but didn't get to read it. I didn't see what is it backed by? Is it backed by commodities? Backed by Bitcoin? Like,
I don't think it's backed by
I think it depends.
It doesn't say that it's backed by anything. It just says inflation pegged. So it follows.
Yeah. So
right.
You get
maybe
into this,
maybe it has like something to do with bonds. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm only speculating, but I don't know. It seems like the price of it will fluctuate, either gain or lose value in comparison to the CPI number. So
yeah,
it's really, without knowing like what's being used as collateral, or what's backing it, or what its algorithmic the mechanism is. It's difficult to give a decent opinion on this. But in general, I think Robin's right. This is a nice troll. This is just like, slapping them in the face. Like, hey, okay, you guys, you central banks suck, and we're just gonna like try to undermine you at every level possible.
Fair enough. And I like that. I like the fact that you're comfortable saying, hey, I don't want to talk about this until I get more information. I feel like there's too many people out there that just want to throw their opinion without having all the information. They look like idiots. Forrest, let's take a look at the crypto markets, and then let's get into some charts, and then we'll come back to some news. So I'm just going to show this real quick, and we'll just kind of briefly go over this. So Bitcoin total market cap of crypto sitting at $1.18 trillion, with volume at 44 billion, kind of low. Bitcoin dominance at 46.3%, and ETH dominance at 18.6%. Bitcoin, $28,320, up 1.95% over the last day. ETH, 1824, BNB token, $316, which I was surprised. Well, actually, I'm not surprised now that I think about it. That I was gonna say I was surprised that this thing is held up over $300 after that lawsuit by the CFTC. But knowing that Binance controls about 70 to 75% of BNB token, now obviously not surprising. XRP, 53 cents, up 27.5% over the last week. We also have ADA up 12%, 10% over the last 24 hours, one of the biggest gainers in the top 100. We do have some news regarding Cardano and Ethereum. You can now, and we'll go over the article in a minute, Doge and Polygon and also Solana rounding out the top 10. So, Forrest, let's start with BTC. Bitcoin, we know we have tons and tons of options expiring today in about 3 hours or 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. What's the Bitcoin chart looking like? I was going through the articles, doing my daily research for the show, saw a few things saying, hey, there's some bearish indicators. We're going to come back down to 25K. What are the charts saying on a more micro and on a more macro level?
Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of start macro first. I do want to actually start. We can start with Bitcoin dominance because that's been kind of the tail of the tape here for the last couple of weeks. Bitcoin has been outperforming all the altcoins, sucking up dominance, sucking up market share here, but it is moving into resistance, and you can see this very strong move has finally started to move sideways just under this Bitcoin dominance resistance. So basically altcoins are outperforming. If this chart starts to go back down again, if this chart continues to push through this resistance, that means Bitcoin is outperforming. Or you can also see Bitcoin dominance rise if the market is crashing and altcoins are crashing more than Bitcoin is crashing. So this is setting us up fairly nicely for an alt season. So there's really two scenarios that can happen here. So or there's four scenarios, but we'll focus on two. I'm of the opinion that when you're in this very long range, until we actually break through and start, printing up above, we should make the assumption, right? The high percentage assumption here, and remember, we just have to work in probabilities. The higher probability is that this resistance holds as it has many times before, right? And Bitcoin dominance starts creeping back down, right? And if Bitcoin dominance is going down, that means one of two things. It means Bitcoin's going up and altcoins are going up harder, or it means that Bitcoin's going down significantly and altcoins are holding on better. Of those two scenarios, I think the more likely is that altcoins just rip, right? We get an alt season. I do want to be very careful about that because we do have some potentially bearish, not even bearish, but tough resistance for Bitcoin. So let's stay zoomed out in the macro. And I do always like to be very careful about comparing cycle to cycle, but this is an interesting one. So if we carve out last market cycle, we had our 6K bottom, 12K top of the range. And then we had our deviation below. And this is kind of wild data here. This is COVID, right? So, for all practical purposes, we had a clean deviation and then we had a COVID liquidity crisis that shook all markets. You can't really account for that. But then below our 6K range, what do we get? We got a 48% spill off once we fell below that. Right. And if we capture the bulk of our data here, right, again, Bitcoin deviation out of the top of the range, small deviation, right, coming in, holding at exactly this range at around $12,000, 12K right there as well. The congruent or the similar range for this past market cycle is, deviation, 30K support. And then we saw in our deviation what would have been, a 48% deviation to the downside. You can take it a step further, and I don't love doing this kind of like time-based stuff. I'm not a big time-based person, but if we measure the days from our peak to what could potentially be the reclaim of our range, right, and we do that from our peak, right, to the reclaim of the range, last market cycle, we get around 508 days. Right, from the peak of Bitcoin to, through the deviation to the reclaim of the core of the range. Right, we take our peak, right, and we measure to where we're at right now. We're at about 505 days, and we're trying to press through and reclaim this range. And we see what happened once we did reclaim the range. We moved directly to the top of the range. Now, I'm not of the opinion that, if we reclaim this range, it means that
Forrest,
you're just going to rip to the top. Oh, go ahead.
What is that line? What is the price of that range?
This right here?
Yeah.
This is 30K, right?
30K,
so this is 30K and this is 60K.
Got it.
And what's really interesting about these ranges and the one of the reasons that I carve them out is, 30K and 60K and 6K and 12K, right? So you'll notice, the first of all, these are 2x's of each other. So 30K or 6K is 2x of 12K, and it captures the majority of our data. These are also psychological levels. But then we can also throw on the margin pressure levels and see that your 6K support, right? We throw on the 6K support, that becomes 12K resistance, right? So your top of the range is the 2x long margin pressure level of the bottom of the range. So it projects the cap of the range, right? And kind of vice versa, when we had the 12K resistance here, prior support turned into resistance, that kind of projected our 6K support, right? And then we got that deviation, right? Bear market recovery. So you'll notice that, interestingly, right, 6K times 5, right, 5x of the bottom of our last market cycle range is the bottom of what could be, right, if this analysis is correct, or turns out to be correct, would be 5x towards the bottom of our range. And then the top of the range would be 5x the top of our previous range, right? And again, 2x of each other. So we got quite a lot of things matching up, and this is we're on a logarithmic chart. That's just the midpoint. That's 9K, right? And then that's 45, right? That's 45K. So whenever you take a range and you deviate from it, and then you reclaim the range, it's a very bullish signal, and it usually results in moving back up to the top of the range. Now, I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to 60K, but I could certainly see us reclaiming and moving towards the midpoint of the range, 45K, 40K, 38K in particular is a big resistance level along the way. So I'm going to remove all of that, and what I want to show is some shorter term stuff that would indicate that maybe we need to be careful here in the short term. And where I'm really interested in buying is 24 to 25K. So a couple things. First of all, top of our range, 25K. And this is the same exact concept that we just went through. What happened? We had our deviation. We reclaimed the range, and let's clean this up a little bit. The range was 18.2K, right? Deviated from the range. We actually got rejected here, and then once we reclaimed, what we do? We shot up to the top of the range, just like very, very hard. So again, that range that we're trying to reclaim at 30K. Usually, when you reclaim a range, you shoot up. Now, we could have a scenario here where we have kind of come up and tested 29 to 30K, and then we back off, and we have to make another attempt at it. So that's currently, we're trying to get through this, let's call it 29, 30K range. We may pop up to 30K, or we may have gotten close enough, and we may shy away from it, and we may have to take another attempt at it. My opinion is that's actually a fairly likely scenario. And the reason being, if we kind of zoom into the daily here, right, we've had this pattern of bearish divergence, right? Swing down, correction, right? That printed our bullish divergence right here, bullish divergence. And once again, if we zoom in a little bit, it's a little clearer on the 4-hour. We did have more bearish divergence, right? And we had a swing low, right? And we didn't print bullish divergence there, but that's okay. And then now we have, once again, bearish divergence on the RSI on the daily, right? And if we keep this pattern up, we would have this kind of swing low down to potentially 24K or so. Now, I do want to show you this on the daily, going back to this, last market cycle, right? What did we have? We had bearish divergence, and let me show that right there. We had bearish divergence, right? But then what printed on top of that was bullish divergence, which led to bullish divergence right there. After that bearish divergence printed, we had the swing low, bullish divergence printed, and then we ran up to the top from, we did basically a 2x, 7K to almost 14K. So what we're looking for here is a correction down to, call it 24, 25K to retest the top of this range, right? We'd retest, the top of this range or slightly below it, and then, hold and get rejected from it. And then what we'd really, really like to see is some form of bullish divergence printing. I don't know exactly what that'll look like yet. It's going to be tough with this, big, crash happening. But some sort of bullish divergence here would be really, really nice, and that could project us through. As far as specific levels, we go to the long margin pressure levels, we go to the short margin pressure level from our recent high, and we throw on our risk reward levels, which is just chopping up, isolating for risk reward levels, incentives in the market. And we zoom in from isolating for our most recent move here. We have rare triple confluence at 24.5K and again down here at 23.5. So basically $24,500 is very strong support. We have support at 26.1, which is a strong support level. You've got a 2-to-1 risk reward with a 4x long, right? But then as soon as we dip down below and kind of re-enter this range, what I think may happen is, people are going to get scared that we've re-entered this 25K range. 25K is your psychological level as well. But they'll be surprised potentially by how strong support is at 24.5 and 23.5, right? You kind of have this band of support here that could push us right back up and actually take us through 30K. So my plan is to get long in this 23 to 25K region.
Okay. I want to share an article real quick, and then we'll get some tea on Cardano. So I'm gonna swap over to my laptop here real quick. So Cardano users can soon access Ethereum dApps directly from their ADA wallets. It's a source from CoinDesk. Those who use Cardano blockchain will soon be able to gain access to the EVM smart contracts with any Cardano wallet, expanding the network's usefulness. Milko Mita is soon enabling staking rewards for all EVM users, including smart contract developers. The new feature will allow Ethereum application developers to build on Cardano's network using Solidity, which is the computer language code used for Ethereum, without the need to install new toolkits or learn a new computer language. Such applications can then be used solely with Cardano tokens instead of Ether, the native token of Ethereum, increasing the token's utility for their holders. Talking about the Cardano token, the ADA token. So I'm going to ask you.
That's DeFi.
Correct.
Right there, man. That is where DeFi is. This is the eventuality of DeFi.
This is what needs to happen, right?
Here's the thing. Like your Netflix subscription, your I don't know. Name all your subscriptions that you have, right? All the ones that are on your phone, all the ones that you constantly use. They're all managed on for most of us. They're all managed by one app or one interface on your iPhone, which is nice. So for me, and it might be different for everyone else, but share my personal experiences when it comes to subscription services. I can go in and I can see, I got 15 subscriptions here, and I can cancel and manage those all in one spot. Now, on the opposite end, if you didn't have everything in one area and you were going individually to subscriptions, you'd have to go to HBO's website, then you'd have to go to Netflix's website, then you'd have to go to, you'd go to one-to-one every single website, having to go into the settings and log in and to cancel. Now that seems a little bit more tedious, a little more easy, streamlined to just do it all from one platform. And that's essentially what you got here. You have technology as a conflux of different dApps all in one area. And why leave the base layer if you're going to be transacting in that layer anyways? And so if you're going to be transacting in the Cardano ecosystem, why would you need to send your assets that are already on the ecosystem? You have Cardano in your Cardano wallet. Why would you need to send it to another dApp just to transact with it? Send it to another wallet address and then work that way. It makes sense just to use your wallet, and that's where we're going. This is the eventuality. Yeah, that's where we need to. Yeah, that's where we need to be, and that's where we're gonna be. Like, and if you think that we're gonna be, hey, you want to transact on Ethereum's network, you got to send over to Uniswap and then switch over to a different token and then move it back to your wallet address on MetaMask and then make sure you're on the right network on your wallet address when you send it, and then go from there and then plug that in to whatever dApp you're trying. That's not efficient. That's not how it's going to work. And right now, it's the workaround to get things done. But eventually, we're going to see more of this seamless interoperability, all from the convenience of one wallet. And that's essentially where we're going to be at, right? Yeah, we always talk about in crypto, hey, not your keys, not your crypto, put it in your wallet. And so the more points of failure you have when you move it around, the greater the risk is to have some kind of loss or some kind of vulnerability. So to secure the wallet, have it be as safe as possible and as fail safe as possible, and then interact with other dApps with that wallet. That's the perfect scenario, right? I mean, that's what I'm envisioning. I mean, I don't see any further upgrades needed after you perfect that service, right?
I agree. And now, Forrest, I want to ask you, because you're pretty active in the DeFi ecosystems. What are your thoughts on this development? Are we going to see more of this moving forward? And is this what we need to see? Ease of use, right? If I want to, for some reason, I'm on the Cardano base layer, but I need to do something on, via the EVM. I can just do it directly through Cardano. I don't have to set up a new wallet, do this. So what are your thoughts on this development here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an inevitability for most chains, right? EVM compatibility. Solana has been working on EVM compatibility for a while. I don't know where they're at with that. Now it looks like Cardano's hopping on the EVM train. It's just EVM is kind of a monopoly, right? It makes me think of like one of the reasons Avalanche performed so well was their C chain, right? Their EVM compatible chain. It essentially offloaded a lot of the throughput that Ethereum was struggling to handle, a lot of the demand that Ethereum was struggling to handle, onto an Avalanche C chain, which is EVM compatible. It's really easy to bridge your ETH over there, and because of that, AVAX saw very high TVL levels in the bull market. So I think this is going to be bullish for Cardano's TVL. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know if this is going to be a separate chain implementation for Cardano, where like it is for Avalanche, or if it'll somehow roll up into the main Cardano chain. I'm not a technical expert there.
It's going to roll up into the layer one, from everything I've read.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's interesting about it.
Very cool. Yeah. And then I mean, if you're able to use Cardano as your gas fees and EVM dApps, and it's just as simple as connecting your MetaMask, and boom, you have Cardano implementation of Uniswap. I mean, that's bullish for Cardano. It's gonna basically give Cardano users and holders access to a DeFi ecosystem that thus far they really have not had access to, right? If you're a Cardano user, you've not had access to Uniswap. You've not had access or a Cardano implementation of Uniswap. And bullish for DeFi on Cardano for sure.
I think we're going to see more of this as well through the likes of other chains that make it easier to bridge ones together. In example, Cosmos. And so what Cardano has done without so much leveraging another blockchain, or layer zero as they call it, instead of leveraging them, they built it on their own. But I think you're going to see projects like Cosmos basically do this for everyone else. So that way, when you have, because what we're going to have is we're going to have an ecosystem where these tokens just freely move between one another. And so whether or not it's Stacks blockchain, Avalanche, Algorand, Mina protocol, Ethereum, Bitcoin, these are all going to move seamlessly between each other. And what we need is just or what we're going to get eventually is we're going to get one base protocol that is just the standard go-to that everybody uses to connect to one another. And that's just going to be because the free market is going to go that direction. And so everybody's going to be interoperable with one system, and you're going to lose out on a lot of potential market and money and users and utility if you don't join that same system. And it's like Yelp, for example. Like, hey man, you know what? You might hate it, you might love it, but hey, you want that advertising? You gotta jump on that bandwagon.
When you said that, the first project that came to my mind was Quant. Yeah. Layer zero, software as a service. You can build anything on top of it. It's not really a blockchain. So.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Cosmos. It could be, it could be any, and it could be something that hasn't even rolled out yet. But at some point, there's going to be something that bridges everything together, and it could be a layer one that has a center of it. Could be Cardano. It could be a very popular layer two on Ethereum that has this functionality. It makes sense if it was a layer zero, someone that was built for this, but. I mean, we don't know, but at some point you're gonna get seamless interaction between different blockchains. That's been one of the biggest roadblocks when you start digging into the crypto ecosystems. Hey, I bought this token. I want to get into this ecosystem. You know, you're over here moving over to another blockchain, or, you know, going back to an exchange, selling it, transferring it. It's like that. Then we need to move away from that. And eventually we will. I do want to also move away from this topic real quick and give a little love to the chat. If you're new here, say hello so we can drop an hola in that chat. Also, guys, hit that like button. And then some of the new people we got.
Can't wait to hear this one.
All right, we got
you know what I'm talking about, Rocco?
Yes. All right, so we got Johnny B, Rai Hall. Also, we got Simon, David JB333, Manny Lingo, Daryl Sanders, Randomness, and K Jetel Mo, David R as well. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
From Norway. I'm from Sweden originally, so my Scandinavian friend here. Forrest, I did mention in the very beginning, well, not very beginning, but before we jumped into the Bitcoin chart, Cardano was up 10% over the last 24 hours. It's been a slow mover. It's like the turtle, right? Turtle in the crypto markets. So what are some levels to look out for? If I'm looking to accumulate Cardano, where can I potentially expect a pullback to?
Yeah, so it's I'll share my screen here. It's about that time. Cardano is the bull market coin that you want to be in. Retail loves it. Retail drives bull markets. Minimal, if any, VC exposure, if I'm not mistaken.
None.
We've got the Bitcoin halving. Like, if we try to time this around the Bitcoin halving in 2024. We're starting to get into, potential bear market rally territory. We have this, key, prior resistance level, resistance. We broke through it. Look at what happened when we broke through this resistance level in the bull market. We shot up, right? Held this as support for the longest time. And then I believe at some point here, November 9th, this was the FTX collapse. And we've gotten pressed down against this resistance level, right? Deviated below it. However, we have broken our downtrend line for Cardano, right? Have held some support on top of it. This was the SVB banking collapse. And now we're pressing up against this resistance. So personally, in the short term, I do think it is risky to just be buying into resistance. I'm not a big fan of just buying into resistance. Why? Because if you bought into resistance at 40 cents last time, it went right back down to 28. If you bought into resistance going into the FTX collapse, it went down to 24 cents. Even buying into this resistance, it did pay off, right? It did pay off going into a bull market, but there was a short-term pullback, 25% to 30 cents, right? And then here, if you bought into the resistance originally, obviously you had a massive drawdown. So this is a bullish pattern. This is a potential bump and run pattern. We're breaking through the downtrend level, but we need confirmation that we're going to break through this, right? And potentially even hold support on top of it. But if you start to see a candle like that, that probably means that we're going to start shooting up and really see an alt season. And it is my general underlying thesis that we are going to see altcoin dominance start to pick back up. We're probably going to see a little, maybe in April or May here, you got sell in May, go away. So maybe in April, we see some altcoins start to run here as we close out this bear market rally. So in the short term, look for a recovery of 40 cents for Cardano, sitting on that resistance exactly right now. We want to see that pop up a little bit with some confidence. Otherwise, we do still have 343 days until the next Bitcoin halving. We have some time. Now, I am of the opinion that, let's just say we run up Cardano and it goes to 75 cents or $1. Let's just say great 2x from here, 80 cents. That'd be great. I'm of the opinion that between now and the next Bitcoin halving is prime time Cardano accumulation on any massive capitulations. What I mean by massive capitulations is any moves back down to the green easy bands. We're still like a bear market rally up into this red zone, which would be 50 to 70. We could certainly start moving up here a little bit further. Maybe we see 75 cents. A bear market rally into the red easy band zones, followed by a pullback as these easy bands start to turn upwards. That's the beginning of your uptrend. right? Your longer term uptrend, right? You don't want to get long on Cardano when the easy bands are starting to tilt downwards. You want to get long on Cardano, right, when you're starting to see this uptrend develop, right? This longer term uptrend, you're accumulating in this region, and then you get paid off in the bull market. Between now and the next Bitcoin halving, any trip back down to the green easy bands for whatever reason, I don't know if it'll be a recession, if it'll be some banking collapse, whatever may cause it, between now and the next Bitcoin halving, if you see Cardano in these green easy bands, if you see Cardano in a 30, 40, 50, 60% pullback from its recent highs, I'm of the opinion that that Cardano is a top contender to be a top performer in the next bull market. Retail loves Cardano. It outperforms everything in a bull market. It underperforms everything. Just the cold hard truth is it sucks to be a Cardano holder in a bear market. It sucks to be anything, a crypto holder in a bear market. But Cardano, usually you see its dominance recede a little bit, right? More so than other coins in a bear market. It is what it is. But then in a bull market, it outperforms everything. It leaves everything else in the dust. And I expect that pattern to continue. So because of that, Cardano, any major dip between now and the Bitcoin halving is probably a solid entry.
Next halving? Are we going to see it? Sorry, I was muted. Are you going to be loading up on your ADA bags if you see a big dip prior to the halving?
Yes, I personally, Cardano's towards the top of my list. I haven't wanted to accumulate any yet because it's just, got capital tied up into some shorter term trades that I think are going to be, produce better gains here in the short term. Cardano is like, I want to be exposed to Cardano like in this time frame, right? In this time frame, going into the Bitcoin halving, post halving, 6 to 9 months, right? That's like the sweet spot where we just see Cardano run. So I'm being patient for Cardano, and I'll build exposure certainly moving into the next Bitcoin halving.
Awesome, man. I want to switch to another token that is looking to make it easier and to kind of in the ethos of interoperability, and that's Algorand. So I'm going to swap over here. Algorand unveils AlgoKit to simplify adoption for developers. This is sourced from crypto.news. Algorand has recently introduced AlgoKit, a comprehensive toolkit aimed at helping developers transition to the emerging Web3 landscape. AlgoKit offers a range of libraries, resources, and templates designed to streamline the creation, deployment, and management of dApps on the Algorand blockchain. The toolkit is intended to cater to both seasoned blockchain developers and newcomers, offering an all-encompassing solution for integrating Web3 features. AlgoKit aims to tackle the typical obstacles developers encounter when transitioning to Web3, such as dealing with the intricacies of smart contracts and adjusting to new programming frameworks. We don't talk about Algorand a lot on the show, but I'm a fan of Algorand. What are your thoughts on this, Robin? Obviously, the same narrative, and I already know where you stand on this, making it easier, breaking the barrier to entry down. Are chains that don't do this going to get left behind?
Here's the way I can say, oh yeah, this is coming. This is, we can go to the same narrative, same kind of conversation I had before with Cardano. Hey, this is the eventuality of all chains. We're starting to get a separation from we're starting to get a separation from building, right? From new projects. And so what I'm curious is that when these new projects come out next bull run, because remember last bull run you had Solana come out, you had Ethereum smart contracts really come to be. There's a lot of new utility that we had gotten from these layer ones, and it took a while to get there. And now the next level, we're going to be even that much further away from an ICO, right? We're going to have that much more utility. We're going to have so many more feature sets that all of these chains are going to have, and all the dApps that are building on them. I don't think we're going to see as much value in new projects launching and becoming immediately effective because they're not going to have the time to build out their ecosystem. And in the past, last bull market, Ethereum just launched smart contracts. So you could still kind of come out and be like, hey, here we're gonna have smart contracts. We got our ecosystem. Here's our wallet. We have a dApp. We have a Uniswap clone. But you're not gonna be able to do that again in the next bull market, right? And so what I'm taking away from all this building is that now that you're essentially in the next bull market, you're gonna be minimum of probably 6 to 8 years for these layer ones that we're talking about now that have been developed and build a community. And then you're going to have a new project that comes out, and they're going to be what? They're going to be out for 6 months, a year and a half. They're not going to be on par what we have here. So where I'm getting at is that I think that the likes of Avalanche, Algorand, Layer 1s, Cardano, like the list goes on and on. These ones that have been building now that we're reading headline after headline after headline, these might be the projects you want to get in on now. These might be your best return on investment now, because I don't think we're going to have another Solana hit the scene and take up top 10 market share next bull run, because they're going to be so far behind the utility that we're reading about article after article now. There's no way they're going to be able to roll that out in the time that we've seen in the past, because you can't build these ecosystems in a minus a year. You can't. Not anymore. Before, you could copy a smart contract code and then be like, cool. But now you got dApps, man. You got dApps and interoperability. And so basically where I'm getting at, the time is now. Find these layer ones, see who's building, because they're going to be the ones off to the races next bull market, man. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be in the money, bro. And I don't think we're going to have these 1000x moonshots, at least not at the same frequency that we had in the last bull market. There's going to be exceptions. There's going to be some dark horses that come out of nowhere. Some new sectors that pop up that have, that got overlooked. But it ain't going to be like, because last bull market, remember, you had 20, 30 new, you had your Phantom, you had your Avalanche, the list goes on. You had all these layer ones, man. There was so many of them. And that's going to be less. It's going to be few and far between, because
putting all my money in Bitcoin Cash. Just kidding.
I mean, do you guys do you feel, am I on an island on this? I'm just curious. Or do you think that next bull market, we're going to see more of what we saw before? We're going to see 20, 30, 50 brand new blockchains that come out, are in the top 100. And you got to catch them right before they pop off. And then they're going to probably, or do you think that's going to happen again? Or do you think
it's definitely going to happen? Maybe not to the magnitude of what we saw, but
you think that's going to happen again? I just think they're going to be so far behind. These layer ones now, they've been building for, by the time the next bull market comes out with partnerships with big corporations, they're just going to be building for so long.
I guess part of that for me depends on what the VC landscape and funding looks like in our space. We know the biggest bank that cut 50% of paychecks for VCs to fund crypto projects was Silicon Valley Bank. And we know the attack on crypto. And so I don't know. I think there's still going to be some.
I think the layer ones are going to have a hard time competing. New layer ones that hit the scene right before the bull market are going to have a hard time competing. Because I think maybe it's time that these layer twos, the dApps that are built on the layer ones, maybe those, like right now, you're not going to have a Google competitor pop up, a new search engine one. Take any market share, right?
Yeah.
Like as a comparison. But you might find the new dApp that comes out, you know what I mean? And the new website that lets you rent your lawnmower instead of your house, you know what I mean? Like the next Airbnb, but you're renting out your lawnmower, baby.
I want to so a couple things on Algorand. So great team, founder Sylvia McCauley, MIT guy, a lot of ties in the industry. You're looking at a 7 billion token, right? Circulating supply, which is 97% of their total supply. And we saw an all-time high of $2.40 in June of 2019. Now, Forrest, what are some levels to watch for Algorand, and what are your thoughts on their algo toolkit and what they're building, and just maybe the project in general?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go to the chart here, but I'll also just say I agree with Robin. I think the network effect and user growth is so important for these layer ones that it's going to be very, very difficult to start. Like, imagine starting a social media network today to compete with Facebook or Instagram. You're going to have, I think you'll have, 4 or 5 chains that just dominate the space, similar to how you have 4 to 5 social media platforms that dominate the space, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and they're all kind of the same idea, but they have different strengths and different focuses, right, and different trade-offs. So looking at Algorand here, I've just drawn a demand zone here. Now, note that last market cycle, and again, I don't like playing this, last market cycle game, but just to know what's possible if we do get a collapse like we did in the COVID crash, we saw our kind of inverse head and shoulders form, and then it was off to the races. So we could potentially be in a situation where maybe this is the left shoulder, and maybe we do see something like that. Not saying that Algorand's going down to 10 cents or anytime soon, but just kind of showing the general demand zone though for Algorand sitting down here. Starts getting below 20 cents, and there's been demand in this region. So for Algorand to go any lower, I mean, it's basically got to go below previous bear market lows. So Algorand performing pretty terribly this market, this bear market, down 94.61%. But again, we saw it do a 30x off the bottoms last time, and at the end of the day, it's all about trade-offs, right? You look at something like Algorand, and they've taken a really scientific approach, and because of that, they may not have the user base that someone that's taken a more marketing heavy approach like Polygon have. Right. So it's at the end of the day, it's about user acquisition, and you can either attract users by having a better product, or you can just brute force it, put money and spend behind marketing and bring on big brands. So that's the risk you're taking when you buy Algorand. Premium technology, but lower user base than something like Polygon or Ethereum or Solana or Cardano. So just looking kind of, more shorter term, we are still very much in a general downtrend. The easy bands are still pointed in the downwards direction. For me to get comfortable in Algorand, I'd personally like to see this level out a little bit. So price action probably needs to come up here, right, to above the 21-week simple moving average to start allowing these, to level out, similar to what we saw here, right? We took a trip up to the red easy bands, right, and that starts to level out the easy bands. We saw a big collapse, and then just a general move up to the red easy bands again. Then you look for your opportunity to buy in the green easy bands down here at, let's say, well, currently where we're at around 22 cents, but then we went all the way up to $2 and change, right? So I'd like to see personally, some demand actually come in for Algorand. I'd like I'd like it to prove itself in terms of, people are actually going to be speculating on this once again. I'm sure it'll probably be fine, but I would rather, pick it up, where it's at right now, once it's already proven that it can turn these easy bands around. So, solid chain in my opinion. But there's some other, like Cardano, personally for me, looks a little bit more interesting going into, and a little bit more attractive going into the next market cycle.
Yeah, man, we got to remember these two coins, Algorand and Cardano, are both ISO compliant as well. And we know that just went live. So pretty interesting. Forrest, thank you so much for those charts. There's one more thing I want to talk to you about. And we're going to end the show with Elizabeth Warren, okay? She deserves it.
Oh.
So we know her anti-crypto campaign. She's building an army. That's why our thumbnail today was her sitting on the throne of lies, also known as the Game of Thrones throne. That was in the thing. So polls suggest Elizabeth Warren's anti-crypto strategy won't pay off. United States Senator Elizabeth Ann Warren of Massachusetts is making her anti-crypto agenda one of the centerpieces of her re-election campaign, despite polls suggesting majority of Americans think crypto is a key innovation for the future. And this is, again, this is her and her anti-crypto army. And this is also her live feed of Senator Warren spinning her anti-crypto army campaign banner. Recent polls commissioned by the industry suggest the stance will not be a vote winner among the majority of the population. And you got to remember, she's in Massachusetts. And although I'm not on the East Coast, they love her there. But will they turn against her for her crypto things? And then we have this. I'm going to tie this all together. So Nick Carter, founder of Castle Island Ventures, he is the one that sounded the horn, I believe in January on Choke Point 2.0. He called the Signature Bank being taken over and sold off. So when he tweets something, right, I still dig in a little bit. But if it's kind of like, oh, well, someone said something, if he tweets it, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I'll show the article here in a second. But he tweeted this. If a sitting senator and member of the Senate Finance Committee coordinated with notorious short sellers to destroy a U.S. bank to settle a political grievance, oh boy. And this is what he's talking about. This is from Fortune Crypto. This was published today. Politics can make for strange bedfellows, and according to a popular rumor in crypto circles, one of the stranger alliances involves Elizabeth Warren and Mark Cohodes, who is the short seller who called the downfall or shorted the crap out of Silvergate. Cohodes is very active in DC, where he shopped a research memo about the banks to numerous lawmakers and to agencies like the Office of the Comptroller. I'd heard about the rumor from two people in Washington, one of whom shared Mark Cohodes' memo, and who say Elizabeth's office used it to inform an aggressive regulatory crackdown on the banks, both of which catered to crypto clients. The allegation here is that the powerful senator is so fixated on an anti-crypto vendetta that she took advice from a short seller who cashes in when companies fail, the sort of person who, in the eyes of many progressives, epitomizes an amoral Wall Street culture they loathe. It's a great story if it's true. So first and foremost, I think I know the answer. We can't just brush this off as there's no way, right? Like there's got to be part of your mind that thinks this is definitely a possibility, if not a probability, right?
Yeah, it's like Occam's razor. It's just like it all lines up. The most likely explanation is probably true to some degree. It's like I don't understand people that are like super close-minded to any type of conspiracy. Like no one would ever conspire or scheme or do something in their best self-interest, right?
Especially our politicians.
It's just like, yeah, I think this is like, it reads straight out of an episode of Billions. It's just corruption. It's very likely, in my opinion. It's just a matter of if you can prove it. And as we found, like even when you can prove stuff, do these people actually get in trouble for their actions? It's unfortunate.
Yeah. And to me, although in the article it does say it's a rumor, I don't have a hard time saying that, hey, this could definitely be true. Nick Carter also tweeted earlier, and let me see if I can pull this up on his Twitter page, that Elizabeth Warren and her office, they follow people's tweets. Here it is. I'm going to share this. A true Elizabeth Warren story. One time I took a call with her chief of staff, which she recalled a tweet where I had called her, how do you pronounce that word? Despot? D-gods. Liz Warren's team copes and seeds over your tweets and saves them in a dossier of mean tweets. Never forget that. And someone asked, well, and this was the original tweet, you will lose the spot or whatever that means. And apparently they called him. Her chief of staff called him. So for me to read a story that someone came up to her and fed into her confirmation bias, and it aligned with her narrative of what she's trying to do in our space and saying, hey, Silvergate's doing this, or I heard this. And it's a guy who literally he's literally known as a short seller. Mark Cohodes is a shorter, okay? That's how he makes money. And so, of course, when you have a lot of money on the line, if something comes out, you're going to amplify that to get people to react. And he got one of the most important people to amplify his message, which was that Silvergate was in trouble because of their activities and ties to crypto. That led to a run, that led to the downfall, that led to the Federal Home Loan, forget what it's called, the FHLB, where Silvergate had the right to access liquidity from. They called that loan back almost immediately after the news came out. So Silvergate was like, well, crap, we borrowed $4 billion. They want this money back now. We got to shut down. So that's where that happened. And then you have the whole signature thing and Silicon Valley Bank. So although it says rumor, we've seen a lot of conspiracy theories come true recently. And I don't know. I just feel like it's definitely something that's possible, if not probable. So those are my thoughts on that. Forrest, before we let you go, tell us about Ute Street. What's going on with Ute Street? And I want to pull up your tweet here real quick, because you put some FOMO in me. Because you tweeted, you said, well, let me pull up your Twitter handle. Which, by the way, guys, if you're not following Forrest on Twitter, definitely recommend you do that. So you said, where'd it go? Like, no.
Yeah, okay. So while you pull that up, I can
go ahead.
Give a little overview. So I guess it kind of started back in late December when, on behalf of Sistine Research, I was doing a deep dive research report on DeGods, Utes, and Dust, and we knocked it out of the park on that. I'll just go ahead and say it. When they came out that they were moving to Ethereum and Polygon, like DeGods were sitting at around $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. We put out that research report the last week of December, and today they're bridging over to Ethereum. The thesis was that the bridge to Ethereum would be extraordinarily bullish. They're sitting at like a $17,000 floor price. Utes bridged over to Polygon last week. And these two NFT collections are very, very solid, fast-growing communities led by a really solid leader and team. And I acquired the Wolf of Ute Street Ute, which is among the rarest in the collection. It's a one of one within the collection. And around that brand and IP, I'm building a community Discord. So I know the rebranding from Crypto Stackers to Sistine Research has been kind of confusing and jarring, and now we're kind of moving to Ute Street. But Sistine Research will very much still be its own separate entity. We'll still be providing research opportunities, and our mission statement at Sistine Research is simply to identify asymmetric risk-reward opportunities in the market and present them to our clients. It's a quality over quantity approach, right? We don't force out research for the sake of forcing out research. When an opportunity presents itself, we do research on it, and we pass that along to our members. But Ute Street, within Ute Street's a larger community base where Sistine Research actually is headquartered in the Ute Street Discord. We've also partnered with High Block Capital, which is an analytics dashboard. Kingfisher, which is a derivatives data dashboard, and Glassnode, which is an on-chain data dashboard and analytics
Love
tool.
Glassnode.
To also headquarter within the Discord and to provide content for our analysis there. So if you become a Ute Street member, which it's not open to the general public quite yet, but if you join, we'll be providing there we go. There's the NFT. Our goal here is quite simply to aggregate and procure analysis and content from industry leaders. So we're also going to be starting a podcast, which will be on the stage type channel of the Discord, where we're going to have industry leaders and influential people come in, and we're going to do podcasts. We'll record them and we'll put them on the YouTube channel. I did change the name of the YouTube channel from Sistine Research to Ute Street, but there will still be Sistine Research content on the Ute Street channel. So we're actually going to be doing a podcast with Sin City Crypto. They're going to be a podcast guest, I believe, next week. We're going to film that podcast, and the goal here is to basically bring in solid content and analysis from industry leading professionals and procure that and put it in a nice community and be able to provide some market clarity for people.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I'm excited to come on Tuesday. I believe Robin's going to be joining us as well, but at the very least, you'll get me. Which we don't need Robin anyways. Robin rambles. And like half the stuff he talks about is nonsense. So I feel like me and you would have a better discussion. But either way, guys, go follow Forrest on Twitter at 0xstacker. Also, go subscribe to his YouTube channel. That link is in the description of this video. Forrest, thank you as always, my friend. We appreciate you joining us and bringing your insight and information and charts to our stream. And have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on as usual.
My pleasure, man. Thank you.
See you guys.
All right. Guys, we lost Robin. Thank God. Should we go another hour, Rocco?
Yeah, let's go.
Robin left. Should we go another hour?
Let's do another marathon. Let's do a marathon.
Another marathon?
Let's do a marathon.
I need to go pee.
We're
done. Guys, go check out all of our social medias. We're on Twitter at Sin City Crypto 1. We're also on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're there. We're here. We're everywhere. Well, not everywhere. Almost everywhere.
Almost.
Once we get fiber, we'll be everywhere.
Yes.
I swear to God, if you guys knew this landlord that we're dealing with, you would... Okay, we're like at the finish line. Almost there, okay? I know we've been saying it for months now. Go check out all of our merch store brought to you by the Don himself. Not just Sin City merch, but overall crypto merch. You got backpacks. You got phone cases. You have... When we get into baby stuff, man? I need to buy my niece something. I need to buy my little niece. I love her so much. She's so cute. 2 months old. Also, you guys want to see my calves? I'm kidding. I got big calves. I got bigger calves than Frankie does, believe it or not. But I'm not going to show them. What else am I missing, Rocco?
I'm going to let it go.
What else should they go?
I'm going to let it go.
Discord. Join our Discord.
Yes.
Join our Discord. The link is pinned to the description of this video. And that's all we got.
Yeah.
Come back on Sunday if you want to hear Robin ramble for 2 hours. If not, come back Monday. We'll be back Monday morning at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. With that being said, Rocco, double finger 21. Guys, thank you so much for an absolutely amazing week. To those of you that are new to our community, welcome to the Sinner community. Make sure to subscribe, put the notification bell on, and please come back Sunday and or Monday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. On behalf of myself and Rocco, screw Robin because he's not here. We love you guys. Until next week, have a great weekend, guys.
Ciao tutti, see you.
Boom.